So, what's the government want us to do then?
Well, the government wants us to tell people that they have to exercise a lot more to lose weight, and that they've got to, they've got to do it that way, and they've got to have a low-fat diet, and they've got to have no sugar and things like that, and obviously
statins and stuff.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, there are some sensible things like keep your salt low.
Yeah.
But you've got to bear in mind salt, sodium, and chloride.
Yeah.
And we know already that you know. It's alkalising, you need the potassium end of it really, rather than the sodium end of it. So yes, you keep your salt low. But it doesn't mean to say you don't have any, because otherwise your electrolytes are going to go out to lunch, especially in hot weather.
I naturally want more salt on my food when it's hot.
But I mean, you've seen people sitting in a restaurant before they even tasted
it's that horrible pouring salt that...
Yes, well, I mean, and there's salt and there's salt. But yes, it's really keeping to the recommended daily amounts. I mean, basically, women it's 2,000 calories and men it's 2.5. And there's like saying actually 2,000 calories isn't actually very much for women. I mean, children aged 5 to 10 years, it's only a little bit less. It's 1,800 calories. Well, my 5-year-old grandson actually probably does put away 1,800 calories because he eats like nobody's business. He's as skinny as a rake, and they keep telling Bex he's underweight. I mean, imagine my Bex is.
But some kids outgrow, they can't keep up their food intake,
and it's like, but they're equally some children I know that are probably lucky if they see 700 calories a day because they eat enough to keep a spider alive. And those are the children. It gets to be a battle. You have to try and make sure that food doesn't become a battle with kids. Because if it becomes a battle, then you're lost before you start.
But if you have food choices through the week, if you've got a young family, so each person has a choice of a day a week or something when you cook what they want, and everybody has the same.
Yes, my son-in-law was really, really good in Rob's bad books. Because she has to be so organised, because she's at part-time work, 3-year-old, twins 1-year-old. And so every week she does a menu and she writes it up on the board. And Chris started putting marks out of 10 against the food.
That went down well.
Yes, I wondered if he was going to live to see her next week.
Yeah, spoon.
But you see, that's an example of like when you have got a mother at work and who's also trying to cook. What Ross does, she doesn't buy ready-made food, but she bulk cooks and puts them in the freezer because it's the only way that she can manage. And it does get the price down. She says it's much cheaper. And you're saying the funny thing is the treat to them is to go out and buy, you still get the treat becomes the bad food. You go and buy them.
So
the takeaway carry on.
Yeah, that's right.
in the last, say, 1 to 2 years. You're getting much more. There's that lady who does a blog, and I'm on benefits, but you can eat cheaply if you go here and here. Yeah. So those sort of recipes that are coming up now
are like the ones that came from the 50s.
Yeah. So they are
Marguerite patterns. Yeah.
So they are balanced, nutritional.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were good. Yeah. And I mean, but it still comes. I think. But then it becomes if your kid isn't having school dinners and you're producing a lunchbox, or your child's at nursery and you're reliant on the nursery people supplying their food, is it needing to check what they're supplying. And if it's a lunchbox, what are you going to put in the lunchbox? I mean, whatever you put in the lunchbox, there's no guarantee they're going to eat it either.
Well, lunchbox is one kid looks in the other, and it's very...
Yeah, that's right, and it gets to be a little bit, I've got a label on my clothes and you haven't, sort of thing. It's like, the obligatory bag of crisps and chocolate bar and a piece of fruit and a bread sandwich if you're lucky,
White bread.
But, it's like there's got to be so much done to some respects. It's like... Yeah. And I think as far as Joe Bob's is concerned, there's not an awful lot you can do about it. I mean, there's quite a bit in here about things like schools, packed lunches, and a bit about serving up better food in hospital. I mean, standards in residential homes where size daddies is absolutely fantastic. But then he is paying for it.
Yeah.
So, I do think it does get a bit worrying when you think that some of the people in institutions, like prisons for example, probably eat better than some people. You know, it seems like that, and it gets to be a little bit stressful, I think, particularly in these times. But I think that it's whether there's a will to actually do it. I think and I'm not sure that there actually is at the moment. I mean, it's people like James Martin and Jamie Oliver and some of the others that have pitched it. Yeah, I mean, they've just got to keep going. Eventually, it'll start filtering through.
See Hughes has been giving away fruit trees to schools, encouraging schools to have their own vegetable plots and what have you for kids.
Because that's how
so
people
good.
learn, especially because the amount of money for most people is going to diminish.
Yeah.
You're going to be back to growing your own veg, growing your own
And then you've got the problem of little houses,
have a garden.
tiny gardens.
Yeah, and apart from the fact you've also got a problem, isn't there? Some of the companies are doing nasty things with seeds. As well. Yeah, as well. But yeah, like I say, people don't have the gardens anymore.
But then Hugh, his campaign, it's about communities developing their own sites, community gardens, and that's taking off.
Like sort of allotment-y type.
Yeah, well,
things.
Bubby's got a community garden, but there's very few people that actually go and work in it and use it. But there are in other environments people have done that. In Bristol, they even got pigs in and things like that.
I think what's happening is like you were saying about the light body stuff earlier today. It's gone up to one level
and it's
and
way
it's
back
come
down.
And it's like it was in the 50s, the 40s, 50s and early 60s, it was at one level. It's gone all the way up and now it's actually coming back down. And people's income's going to actually drive people back to what it was like when Ariana and I was small.
And that's why listening to the last weekend when you were talking about this, is it Fiona Campbell?
Yeah.
I want to go and do that for various reasons, but part of it is just to make sure there's another person who knows that.
Yes.
Little
Where
strands
to
going
find
into
the
the
food.
future. Yeah.
That's right.
Where to find them. Because the other thing is like there's a book out recently, antivirals, herbal viral.
Is it a spooner?
It's antibiotics, herbal virus thingies.
Antivirals.
Yeah,
Is it
that's
by
it.
James Wong?
No, not by James
Ray
Wong.
Raindrop.
He's a really good American bloke,
Yeah.
Alright.
and he's just published one on viruses in terms of what herbs and foods can you for viruses.
Yes.
And it's an amazing book. I'm sort of like halfway through it at the moment. And it's like there is stuff out there
Oh yeah.
that will do it, but it's like making sure that there are people
Enough people to know.
carry the.
Can you let us know what that was
Yeah,
for?
I'll find it.
Yeah, because it is that. It's about. This is how the wise women and wise men of the old villages came about, because they were the people that held the knowledge about how to use food as medicine. You know, and I think we're rapidly going back that way.
Yeah.
Means that we need to know how to use foodstuffs as
I feel
medicine.
sorry for the people living in the built-up areas, towns.
I know.
It's awful.
Yeah.
There's no green areas at all. It's all built on. Even their front gardens are slabbed to put cars on.
Then, having said
But
that,
they've got
if
the
you know what
National Theatre.
herbs to go and buy,
Somebody
in the
said that this morning
supermarket.
on the news. It's like, but in London at least we have the National Theatre.
That'll feed you.
yeah, you know, it's just knowing what you can utilise.
But also going out there and seeing
And see what they look like.
Hands
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
what you were saying about in this state you don't because they've got prickles, and
Yes,
in this
that's
state
right.
you can use it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's all
Yeah,
that sort of stuff.
yeah. You see, which was stuff that was common knowledge 50 years ago.
Oh, grannies would know.
Oh yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Fiona
Campbell. It's FF2. It's FFY.
Yeah.
RNA. FFY. So it's a spell.
FFY.
RNA. Yeah, so it's the
But she doesn't make out that she knows it all, but
she knows
quite a bit, and she's happy
Okay.
to share that.
Yeah.
I want to do the seashore bit with her because that sounds fascinating.
What's that then?
Seaweeds.
Oh, seaweeds.
Harvest seaweeds, yes.
I'll get your ID in here.
Seaweed. And there was a seaweed riot today outside Beck's cottage on the North Devon coast.
Yeah, that's maybe why you know you get them to get to know your seaweeds.
Maybe I did, yeah.